So again, welcome to Writers Resist Reads. This is a celebration of our December issue. And why don't we go ahead and kick it off? Renee, would you like to introduce the first reader? Unmute, you need to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I'm back. We have Christina Bagni. Is she here with us?
Hi, yes.
And she's gonna read for us Justice Clarence Thomas Ate My Fucking Plums. Christina Bagni's creative work has been published in Asterism, Lit 202, and Underground Literary Magazine, among others. She is the chief editor at Wandering Words Media and a writer on the Captain Bitcoin comic book series. Her first novel is forthcoming with Deep Hearts YA in 2023. Thank you so much for coming in, Christina, and take it away.
Thank you. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably relying on forever. Forgive me. You didn't deserve them. They were always mine to take. Forgive me. But the icebox was always meant to be empty. It came that way, and that's how God told me it should be. So I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox to return order to your cold, empty world. I did it for you, you see. Forgive me.
Thanks. We had a particular, I should say, had a particular appreciation for that, having been an activist in the realm of social justice, in particular for people who can reproduce. So thank you for that poem. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Renee, I just wanted to let you know that it looks like our other Renee, that Renee might not have joined us yet. So let's save the Renee McClellan's introduction and we'll go on.
Yeah, we have Jacqueline Jules, who's going to read for us The North Wind and the Sun. Jacqueline Jules is the author of Manna in the Morning by Kelsey Books, published in 2021, and Itzhak Perlman's Broken String, winner of the 2016 Helen K. Shapok Prize from Evening Street Press. Her poetry has appeared in more than 100 publications, including Kin, The Sunlight Press, Gyroscope, Review, and One Art. You can all visit her website at www.jacquelinejules.com. Please.
Thank you. The North Wind and the Sun. Gentleness and kind persuasion win where force and bluster fail. From The North Wind and the Sun by Aesop, an Aesop fable. The woman seated next to me on the plain sees the star around my neck and begins asking question. How can I be happy without eating ham, she wants to know, or live in America without a Christmas tree? I could tell her to ask the internet, my eyes as cold as the tiny soda cans we've just been served. I could bluster and howl like Aesop's north wind, forcing her to pull her blue silk shawl tighter and tighter. Or we could have a conversation, and I could be like Aesop's sun, shining with gentle beams until she feels too warm to stay wrapped in her misconceptions. Thank you.
That is a beautiful poem, and that idea of conversations that we should all have. So we were really drawn to it. Thank you very much for sharing it with us. We have now a poem by Tara Campbell, Prolapse. And Tara Campbell is a writer, teacher, Kimbillia Fellow, fiction co-editor at Barrow House, and graduate of American University's MFA in Creative Writing. Her publication credits include Smoke Long Quarterly, Master's Review, Wigleaf, Craft Literary, and Writers Resist. She is the author of a novel and 4 multi-genre collections, including her newest, Cabinet of Wrath, a doll collection. She teaches writing at venues such as American University, Johns Hopkins University, the Writers Center, Catapult, and the National Gallery of Art. Thank you very much, Tara, for being with us tonight.
Thank you for being part of this amazing publication and this program. I'm so glad we have a chance to share words with like-minded people and just get some respite from everything going on thereby. So I'll read Prolapse. The uterus is tired. The uterus is sorry, but it can't seem to stay in one place anymore, which isn't surprising considering how often it's been poked and prodded and pricked by congressmen's pens. The uterus would like to get in a word of its own, just one, even edgewise, just one goddamn word. The uterus wishes it could remember the words to that song you sang when you didn't have to worry about your uterus all the time, when you didn't have to be so goddamn vigilant, didn't have to keep twisting and turning away from men shoving laws into it edgewise. The uterus is tired, so very tired. The uterus would like just one goddamn moment to itself. The uterus just wants to be. The uterus is sorry it can't give you that. The uterus remembers when it was barely aware of itself, which sounds like a contradiction, but was merely a state of grace. The uterus is small and pink and lovely and valued and sacred and blessed. But no, the uterus doesn't believe its own press. Well, it didn't. Well, it shouldn't have. And now the uterus is completely disappointed to find it is neither valued nor sacred, nor blessed, nor even safe. The uterus is tired. So goddamn tired. The uterus is sorry it's letting you down because now it's letting itself down. Slowly, uncomfortably. This is called prolapse. And the uterus wants you to know this is not your fault either. And it would have told you everything sooner, but the truth just gets the uterus bullied, harassed, and threatened with rape for upsetting men. And when the truth is too educational, it just gets the uterus kicked off the socials for porn. Some days the uterus feels philosophical. And some days the uterus feels angry. Who are we kidding? Most days the uterus feels angry. If not for itself, then on behalf of other uteruses who are told they're overreacting to getting bullied, harassed, and threatened with rape for upsetting men. The uterus is often depressed. But today, the uterus is simply tired. The uterus needs a break to forget how everyone is always talking about it, even when it's not in the room, especially when it's not in the room. The uterus is tired, and the uterus is tired of being asked why it's tired. The uterus no longer wishes to be interrogated. The uterus just needs a little time, a little goddamn time to itself. And who can blame it for feeling heavy, for wanting to slide just a little bit lower and rest after everything it's had to endure? The uterus simply wants to sit in the warm and the dark, mind its own business, and quietly sink, baptized in silence, blessed finally with one goddamn moment of peace. Thank you.
Yay! Really, as a person who possesses a uterus, I want to thank you for that oh so relevant in every way poem, not just.
And thank you for bringing it alive with your reading, which was amazing. Thank you very much. Now we are gonna move to the main event. pronounced she, hers, is a transgender goddess, activist, artist, performer, publisher, author of creative nonfiction, erotica, fantasy, science fiction, and social criticism. The Maynard writes voraciously about gender, class, sex, inequality, and mental illness, and their intersections. She also writes about culture, games, space, futurism, and the human condition. She's always thinking of other possible worlds and how best to help with this one we all inhabit. And she's also the co-editor and a founding member of Viridian Door with Atlas Booth. Her work of trans erotic liberation, The Ishtar Cycle, is available from at Loper Cali Press. And the Maynard is going to read to us a piece of narrative nonfiction, 23rd Go July Fireworks. Welcome and thank you very much for reading.
Thank you for having me. All right. There are 4 children playing on the playground below my office window. The same one that was the target of a drive-by shooting a few weeks ago. I heard the recognizable sounds of a familiar script being shouted and went to my window. No cops, but 4 children. The 4 children down there are in 2 groups. One of them is on the ground, being told by the other 2 to turn over, face down, and put their hands behind their back. The 2 who are playing the cops walk around the others. And it's sad to hear, because they know the cop script just as well as I do. None of these kids are older than 10 or maybe 11. Face on the ground! Pop, pop, pop! Says one of them. The other stands over one of the other children on the ground and mimes putting a gun to the back of the other child's head. Then bang, 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 bang. Immediately, the dead boys on the ground, from appearances 3 are black and 1 is Hispanic, switch places without a word. The dead boys become the cops and scream, "Get on the ground and spread them!" And it starts over. By the time I think to start writing this down, they have cycled through this 3 times. Everyone takes turns being victim and executioner. During one of their transitions, I overhear one of them saying in a jocular tone, "You gotta be prepared." And it hits me. They are, in that way that children do, drilling, training, preparing for a hostile world. Then it starts again. "Get your ass on the ground, convict!" While the other cop just starts firing their pop gun. "Stop resisting or I'll blow your brains out right now." That's all. But unfortunately, this does go on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maynard, for such a powerful piece. And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Now-
Lovely to be here.
Oh, absolutely. Now, our next reader is coming from the future. She's in Australia, where it is actually Sunday now. And I want to welcome Yvonne Patterson. Yvonne Patterson is a New Zealand born and now living in Perth, Western Australia, proving that Kiwis do fly. She enjoys the freedom of poetry after a career in human services in clinical psychology and policy in mental health, disability, community, and justice areas. Her poetry explores borders and fault lines around us as human beings living within social and political contexts. It asks questions about the ethics of how we behave towards each other and our environment, It draws from career experience and personal interests in arts, science, politics, and especially social justice and equity. She has poems published in anthologies and journals including Not Very Quiet, Grief Anthology, Writers Resist, Creatrix, and the Australian Rationalist Journal. Yvonne is going to read for us Hegemony, Footnotes in Future History. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very, very much. I think that needs to be edited down a bit. Okay. It's lovely to join you from here, and I won't show you outside because it's moving up to 30 degrees today in the sun, so just bear that in mind. I presume it's a little cooler there. Can you hear me properly, please? Great, okay. Hegemony, Footnotes in Future History. Book ended with blood, the Reaving era, births in the conflagration of origin crusades, subjugates the populace and banishes science, ending in funeral pyres of anti-pogrom riots, the Reclamation years. Closing scenes, unlike the exuberance of symphonic finales, manifest in discordant notes, bright allegros falter, sonorous glissades collapse in coarse staccato. Dark notation seeps into public view. Audience exits. Somber hues in a barren row. The antique red carpet, woven with faded battle sigils, colloquially known as the River of Blood, stagnates. Only stalwart readers remain, squinting, hunched over library manuscripts, chained to tables. The edifice, deeply veined with cracks, blackened with ingrained dirt, brittled with the fetid breath of centuries, suffocates. Fables of self-proclaimed hegemony, echoing former eminence, lie embalmed in stained glass windows. Glass shards encrusted with grime, colours leached by vicissitudes of relevance, obscure daylight, mute hubris. Thank you. Thanks. May I say that I, like many of us, get very disturbed at the institutions, political, religious and otherwise, that dominate our lives in very negative ways. And I like to imagine that they too will come to an end, often not soon enough. Thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful poem as well. And now we have Kathy Kremins, who is going to read the poem Ode to My Reflection in the Mirror on Just One Day. Kathy Kremins, pronounced she, her, is a Newark and New Jersey native of Irish Catholic immigrant parents and a retired public school teacher and coach. Her poetry chapbook, Undressing the World, was published by Finishing Line Press in 2022. Kathy's recent work appears in Gallery Afero's ongoing poem booth project, Make Me Want to Holler, Drunk Monkeys, Digging Through the Fat, Limp Wrist Magazine, Platform Review, Patterson Literary Review, Soup Can Magazine, The Night Heron Barks, Stay Salty, Life in the Garden State Anthology, Stillwater Review, Lavender Review, and Divine Feminist, an anthology of poetry and art by women and non-binary folk. Thank you very much, Kathy, for being with us today. And please take it away.
Thank you. It really is a very humbling to be here. And after having read Writers Resist for a few years now, to be in this space with all of you is certainly, it's a good thing. Ode to My Reflection in the Mirror on Just One Day. Epigraph by C.S. Lewis. I sat with my anger long enough until she told me Her real name was Grief. We are better than this. No, we are this. Always have been. Columbus, mission schools, Tulsa race massacre, Charlottesville, La Operación, children in cages, smallpox, pipelines, voter suppression. We are better than this. Michael Brown, Vieques, ICE, Indian Removal Act, fracking, Jim Crow, Breonna Taylor, Ponce Massacre, MAGA, Trail of Tears, lynching. No, we are this. 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, Trayvon Martin, Hurricane Maria, Trump, California Gold Rush, slavery, Emmett Till, Elijah McClain, always have been. Japanese internment camps, Proud Boys, Wounded Knee, Ku Klux Klan, Charleston church shooting, Tuskegee experiment, eugenics, Brett Kavanaugh. We are better than this. No, we have never been.
Another very powerful piece. And I'd like to make a reference to the comment of one of our editors in the chat, Debbie. She's mentioning that she loves how you took the often repeated, "we are better than this," challenging it at every historical event in which it is invoked, to a very powerful effect. So thank you very much. Now we have Livy Krakauer. I'm not sure if she's with us. And then we're gonna have William Palmer, who is gonna read us his poem, Hollow. William Palmer's poetry has appeared recently in Cold Mountain Review, J Journal, One Art, On the Seawall, and Poetry East. He has published 2 chapbooks, A String of Blue Lights and Humble. A retired professor of English at Alma College, he lives in Traverse City, Michigan. William, welcome, and thank you very much for reading tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, KB, and everyone. And we are better than this, especially what's happened this week. So this is Hollow. What happened January 6th was forgettably minor, the most popular Fox host claimed on June 9th. The first night of the House Select Committee's report, so forgettably minor, he did not allow any commercials during his show, decreasing the chances viewers might stray or might consider the view that what had happened was unforgettably major, and that the host was therefore lying, and that when they hear him claim January 6th was not an insurrection, but simply vandalism, they might question what he says in the future and hear the thump of his hollow heart.
Renee, because we have, William's our last writer present. William, did you prepare a second piece to read? Because we definitely have time to do a second round. Do you have another thing to read
Yes.
for us? And I'm
Yes.
still getting over the last one, so yeah, it's been a fascinating thing to witness in our country and dismaying. So thank you for writing that, and you still have the floor.
Okay, I'll share a poem that that was published in Writers Resist January 21st, 2021, and it was based on the election that thankfully Joe Biden won. And I was just amazed that, Trump and his cohorts were arguing, right, that dead people were voting and that they skewed the election. So I thought, well, what can we as writers do about that? So I tried to imagine myself as a dead person speaking. So Dead Man Votes in Wayne County, Michigan. I found an old mask on the ground and stood in line. At a table, I handed a woman a scrap of paper with my name on it and my old address. She scrunched her face to check it while a big guy behind her, wearing a white mask with red and blue firearms on it, told her to keep the line moving. She looked at my old Ford assembly plant ID, and the guy told her again, but louder. She handed me a ballot. I voted for Joe Biden. I signed my name best I could, then walked out before my legs caved to dust. Thanks.
Thank you for that, William. Also, I pulled it back up on the website. And it's good to laugh at this stuff, isn't it? Because sometimes that's all you can do. Renee, would you like to take us back through a cycle?
Yeah, absolutely. So now we ask Kathy, do you have another poem that you would like to read today?
Sure. This is a poem called The Price of My Soul, and it's dedicated to Angela Davis and Bernadette Devlin. Tommy and Kevin jump us outside the library, knock the books out of Eric's hands into the snow, slap him, and push him until he falls to his knees, cries for forgiveness for no reason except his sweetness. I back up 2 steps, place my 3 books gently on the steps behind me, safe from harm. The night before, Bernadette Devlin commands my attention, points her finger directly at me, speaks fire, arm around Angela Davis, sisters, shoulder to shoulder, declares a free and united Ireland in our lifetime, announces solidarity with the Black Panthers and liberation. I rush those bullies, smash eyes, crack a nose, draw blood, splatters like spilled paint run down Eric's face, anointment to the hatred for gentle souls, my hands ball in fear, fight and frustration, fists still clenched in defiance, devotion.
Thank you very much, Kathy, for sharing your second poem with us. And Yvonne, do you have another poem that you'd like to read this evening?
I could read one more, if that's okay. Right.
We would love that.
Okay. This one is called Things About Ice. A sonic earthquake, iceberg A76, big as 4 New York cities, calves from Antarctica's ice shelf. Trends on social media, the largest since iceberg A68, which splintered in just 4 years. Then there's the velvet rush of birth, a newborn whale calf's first breath, eyes opening into sea ice, and the song of a whale cow crushed by grinding teeth of fracturing ice sheets, and muted whispers of kids huddled in bathrooms, blocking ears, wetting bed sheets. The magistrate ruled, it's okay, the kids aren't harmed, just his wife, doesn't matter. Kids didn't see it. Honorable man, the father, at the pinnacle of his profession, loves his kids. His wife must facilitate his visits. The magistrate silenced women for years, but now his judgments are in the spotlight. He's carved beyond the camouflage of his ice shelf.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. Such beautiful imagery. And when I was listening to you, I wrote down the velvet brush of birth, and then I look in the chat, and everybody fell in love with that line. Very beautiful and evocative. Thank you very much. Now we have Maynard. Do you have another piece to read for us?
I do. This kind of took me a bit off guard, but I happen to have something. I have my second collection coming out in about a month and a half with Kith Books. So y'all are getting a sneak preview of this. The title is The Cactus of County Magdalene. I am the only water giver you will find in this desert. A lovely green, but prickly. I leave you sore, but you need me. Blink, and you will miss my sweetest bloom. I will nourish, replenish you. Slake your thirst, quench your soul. But you must first navigate my prickly parts. Be stung. Let me cut. You must pay my price to be allowed to drink of my moist insides. Thank you. Kind of flubbed the landing there, but I think you got the idea.
Another amazing poem. Thank you very much. And Tara, do you have another poem for us?
Yes, I do. I have. I've been obsessed with sestinas lately. So I have one. It's a new one called "If I Must Be Armed." If I must be armed, let it not be with cold metallic instruments. Flowers will do the trick. You may howl at floral defense, try to worm pistols into my moonlit fingers, but I'll have no moonlit subterfuge. If I must be armed, I'll throw guns to the ground. Worms can make homes of them in the cold, shelter while winter winds howl, then emerge to churn under springtime flowers. If I must be armed, I'll fit pink flowers in each barrel, shoot petals in moonlit massacres, the only howl my own feral salute. If I must be armed, I'll stow them all away in glacial cold, plant jungle gyms for ice worms. Must every bullet worm its way into a heart? Must all flowers grace a grave, resting in cold comfort of a eulogy, witness moonlit visitations from hollow-eyed armed penitents, bear the howl of anguish come too late? Go on, howl at pacifists, call me a worm too cowardly to want to be armed. All I need are flowers, not flowing blood, not some moonlit fantasy of bravery, not cold metal in hot hands. The world is often cold, but I won't howl for lack of firepower. A moonlit pasture will suffice. The worms below are plenty. With flowers, I am adequately armed. My skin is moonlit, fragile but not cold. I dance infinitely armed. I whirl and howl and thump hello to worms. I sing and up come flowers. Thank you.
Thank you once again. And Jacqueline, do you have another poem for us?
Yes, I have another poem. I have a poem from Manna in the Morning, which is my collection with Kelsey Books. And this is The City of Sodom. Abraham was not Noah, content to save his family while everyone else drowned. Abraham argued for Sodom. Is this justice from the judge of the world that the righteous be dealt the same blow as the guilty? Abraham bargained. Will you save Sodom for 50 innocent lives? What about 45, 40, 30, 20, 15? In the end, they settled. 10 decent souls could save an entire city. And Sodom was lacking even that. A fact to remember the next time I question if the compassion of one person counts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have me at the first line. Abraham was not Noah. That was fantastic. And Christina, we're coming full circle. Do you have another poem for us?
Yes, I do. This is called A Desperate Plea to the Ruler of All the Penguins. It's coming out soon in the Still of Winter Unsettling Reads anthology. Please, sir, please, emperor, please, ruler of all the penguins. We have done all you asked. We have gathered pebbles in groups of 3 and 5. We have sacrificed legions of fish in the name of the gods, praying, begging. We have stopped fishing in certain waters, stopped eating certain fish. We have herded our children away from the areas where the ground crumbles beneath our feet. What more can we do? What will help? What will make the sun weaker, the snow last longer? What will make you finally help us? What are you waiting for, Your Majesty, Your Grace? What will you do to help us? You must be able to help us. Do you need more fish? More pebbles? Do you need more praise, more time, more space? Do you know what to do? Do you know what is wrong? Do you know how to fix it? Do you want to fix it? Do you know how badly we are suffering? Do you listen when we cry out to you? We were told it was demons. We were told we were to blame. We were told to do something about it, to clean the waters, to clean our bodies. We were told to be good, to be conscious, to be gentle. We have done that. We don't see a change. In fact, we see it getting worse. We see our children dying, choking on strange materials, swimming poorly with weaker wings. We see fewer fish in our ocean, less snow from the sky, less ice on the ground. We need an answer. We need you, Emperor. We need your help. We need to know what is wrong. We need to know how to stop it. We can stop it, right? We must be able to stop it. We just need you to tell us how. Thank you.
Welcome, Karen, and thank you for that, Christina. Lots happening all at once.
A wonderful poem, Christina. I'm echoing this time Tara. Those questions are fabulous. That string of questions. Thank you very much. And welcome, Karen. We actually went full circle. So now, if you would like to read your poem for us, I will introduce you to our audience. We cannot hear you. You are unmuted.
If I can
And while
find
you're
it,
mute,
yes. Can you hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay,
And
good. I am so
for
sorry.
everyone,
On my calendar, it's been a day, I'll tell you. It's been one of those
you made
days.
it.
I did. All right, so let me
Let me introduce you first for everyone.
Okay,
Before you start, Karen Kilka, who is going to read for us on hearing of Russian soldiers booby-trapping dead Ukrainian civilians with landmines. Karen is a teacher and writer for more than 40 years, and Elizabeth Rosenthal Professor of American Literature, Environmental and Sustainability Studies, and Women's, Gender, and Sexuality Studies at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. She feels fortunate to work with many students of color, first-generation students, and LGBTQI+ students at this minority-serving institution. Their courage and imagination inspire her and give her hope. Her forthcoming book, winner of the 2021 Winter Goose Poetry Prize, is titled The Art of Restoration. Thank you for being with us, Karen.
Thank you. And Renee is one of my people, so I'm just so excited to have him here with us. He's wonderful. All right, I'll read the poem. It's grueling. It was grueling to write, and it's grueling to read it even after I've written it. So on hearing of Russian soldiers booby trapping dead Ukrainian civilians with landmines. How do they do it? Lift a heavy head and place the bomb beneath an ear? Slide the metal disc under a shoulder or a thigh? Or worse, do they slice the swollen, long dead chest, flies fluttering, the stink unbearable nearly? Do they carve a red-rimmed cavity large enough to implant the device, which mimics a hockey puck, a nippled breast? How could they tuck it in? How could they close the hole, back away, hope for the best? Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen, for sharing that poem with us. Very strong imagery. And I guess I will ask you if you have another poem for us.
There. Let me see what I can find. Yeah, this is terrible. Coming in at the very end. This is just so embarrassing. Oh, God.
We're an easy audience and we're delighted that you made it, Karen. Thank you.
All right.
We are.
I think I'll read you this. It's a new one. And yeah, I just read it to my poetry workshop a couple of weeks ago. So it's still in a little bit of flux, but it's a little more hopeful than the one I just read you. I don't know if I if I can share my screen, you could see it. I don't know if I can do that. Oh, I can. Would you like to see it? Okay. Here it is. Can you see it? Okay, great. It's called Spatchcock. We always squabble over who gets the turkey leg and thigh. The breast's too dry and tasteless as paper. This Thanksgiving, I brine the costly bird. Millions died of flu or were slaughtered to prevent the spread. It perches on its headless neck for 2 days in a tall stainless steel soup pot. On the morning, I set it on the granite counter, hack out the backbone with scissors and knife, invert it to split the breast, settle it on new potatoes, red carrots, parsnips from our garden, cover it with sage, oregano, thyme, butter. Splayed, the bird seems undignified, shrunken to half its normal size. To an old only child, grandparents and parents seem especially gone. Fall's harvest, Brussels sprouts, golden butternut squash, conjure dinners when my nearly toothless grandfather ate his russet potato's flesh and handed me its crisp skin to lavish with butter. Candles on my mother's frayed crimson tablecloth glimmer on her crazed gold-rimmed plates. Today's bird is tender, and even the breast meat tastes like thanks. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Karen, for that beautiful poem. And now KB is going to say some final words.
Yeah, just a few. Welcome again, and thank you all for contributing your creativity to the resistance effort. Just one little housekeeping thing. This is obviously recorded, and I'll be posting it on our website. We get a lot of hits on the recording. and sometimes more hits on the recording than we get on the actual text issues. So feel free to go in and share that page link. And before I sign off, I'll find it. And actually, let me do that right now. I'll see if I can multitask. It's questionable because it's a Saturday night, but it's under events, and I will post it in the chat. You'll see right now, it's just a mention of this event, but once I process the video, I will post a link to it in there. Actually, the video will be on the webpage, but you can also share the link to either that page or YouTube. And again, those things are getting a pretty broad audience, so it's worth sharing, whether you love seeing yourself on video or not. So feel free to do that. The second thing is I want to remind you all, I am going to be sending out hopefully a not offensive little suggestion that people support us a little bit, not you all, but your social circles, if you're willing to share that link, because we're really close to covering 100% of our costs this coming year, which would be just really, really dandy. A couple of personal comments. After Donald Trump was elected and life was feeling really tough, but we launched this and we immediately got submissions from around the globe, because the United States, for all of our failures, is certainly noticed by every other nation in the world. And it's that sort of response, through that sort of response, that I met Yvonne, who sent the most loving, caring email indicating her concern for us. So Yvonne, I just wanted to thank you for that again. It reminded me of how intersectional the globe is now, from country to country, from state to state, or whatever the divisions are in different countries. We are all really connected, and not just through writing, but through many arts and venues and whatever. So it's a real honor to be connected with you all through this little journal that we love. And thank you. I just want to thank you again. And thanks for being here this evening. And I will try to get the link up to the video by Monday or Tuesday, so you can check back on the website then. And the other ones from previous readings are all up there as well. So thank you. Renee, any last words?
I just want to say thank you again. And I was just remembering Kathy saying that she felt so honored to be part of this. And I think actually we feel honored that you're all part of this, because you're all making this. Without you, there is no Writers Resist. So thank you all for wonderful readings from today, and keep up the resistance.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was wonderful being part of this. Really, really great.